welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live. Yes, all the way live in Black Pearl Studios. We talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Yo, can I give y'all some advice? I mean, you ain't gotta really take it, but let me give y'all some advice. If you decide that you want to go pick a fight with somebody, say it's a sanctioned boxing match or a taekwondo match or a street brawl, a bar brawl, or even a verbal tete-a-tete. I need you to be prepared to get hit in the mouth. Now, if you don't want to get hit in the mouth, then maybe not get into a fight. I mean, I don't want to get hit in the mouth, so you're not gonna see me put on no boxing gloves. You're not gonna. Well, actually, that's not true. But I'm not gonna start a fight and then not think that I can't get hit in the mouth. I mean, don't you think that makes sense? If you're gonna get in a brawl, you knuckling up, or you think you're gonna get into a verbal tete-a-tete and say and do whatever you want to pick on people, that some of that funk is gonna come back to you. Well, apparently, sensitive little Senator Aaron Freeman decided it was a good idea to pick a fight with all of Marion County and Indianapolis. You know, the city with 30% black folk, 30%, a significant population of Latinos, a huge AAPI group of people. I'm messing up, can't talk. But he thought, I'm Aaron Freeman. I'm a pick a fight because I don't want nothing I don't want Indianapolis to have anything that their local people vote for. And then he got hit in the mouth last week. People were coming after him hard. They were saying basically, bro, we don't have 26 city county councilors. Got 25. Bro, why do you hate Indianapolis? Bro, why are you anti-transit? He didn't like none of those accusations. But he started the fight. So he gets up. Y'all should have seen it. It was actually kind of funny. Y'all should have seen it. Little dude got up and was crying like a big old baby. Oh my God, the tears. My goddaughter, who is 2 years old, don't cry as much as he did. Oh, we should be nicer to each other. Oh, we can agree to disagree without discourse. Bro, everything you have done in that legislature has made it harder for the people of the city of Indianapolis and Marion County to do anything. And you mad? Now you in your feelings? I'm going to need you to man up. I'm going to need you, as the homeboys used to say when I was at North Central, grow a pair. I'm going to need you to be an outie instead of an innie. You hard. Or maybe you should re-up. Because women know what we doing. We ain't scared no more. But Aaron Freeman, you little punk, you got all in your feelings after you attack people, after you decide that you want to get into a fight with Indianapolis. And when Indianapolis comes for you because what you're offering up for us is terrible, you want to start crying in the safety of the chamber? What am I talking about? Y'all want to know what I'm ranting about? All right. WFII reports a bill that puts a 1-year moratorium on dedicated bus lanes passed out of the Indianapolis Senate on Monday. Opponents of the bill say the pause could scuttle millions in federal funds for the Blue Line, Indianapolis' third bus rapid transit line. Indigo has testified that the bill could ultimately kill the Blue Line altogether. Over an hour of testimony on the bill centered around whether the legislation represented state overreach, which it does, into the affairs of local government. Even Shelley Yoder said, yo, is she in Bloomington? She was like, it's hard for me to get to the airport without a car. We should be able to have transit. Rapid transit from the airport to downtown area of Indianapolis. We should have it. That's what she said. The Blue Line would provide rapid bus transit over on the east side to the international airport way over on the west side. Several lawmakers said the legislation overruled what Indianapolis residents have repeatedly asked for at the ballot. Senator Andrea Hunley said the measure would stall Indianapolis's economic growth. How can we be a first-class city without first-class transit that will take us from our airport to our convention center, from our airport to the heart of downtown, from our airport to a variety of hotels, she asked. We don't need a study. Bill's sponsor, Freeman, said his measure will study the efficacy of dedicated lines during the one-year pause, and that's it. I'm not saying I'm anti-transit. I'm not saying I'm anti-bus. I'm not saying I'm anti-anything. All I'm saying is you should examine shared lanes versus dedicated lanes. Unfortunately, it came out of the Senate and heads to the House. So I'm sorry, if you're not anti-transit, you're not anti-bus, then why are you putting this legislation on the floor? Why don't you believe in home rule and let the people in the city of Indianapolis who elected their city council, their city county council, govern us the way we want? Oh, no, you don't like that. Now, I know people are going to tell me, Dana, race ain't got nothing to do with it. Race ain't got nothing to do with it. You know why race has something to do with it? Because of the 30% African-American population. Indianapolis is overwhelmingly Democratic. We are Democrats in Indianapolis, and the Republicans, which has a majority, because we only 9%, black folks are only 9% in the state. So y'all have an overwhelming majority in the rest of the state. But we're saying we want to be governed a certain way, and he think he massa, and he don't believe that we should be able to govern ourselves. If you think it's anything other than that, you are slipping and sleeping. Aaron Freeman, oh yeah, we ain't done with you yet. I'm just being nice today. But he ain't the only idiot in the State House, and I know why he felt super safe in the State House, because I can't even tell you how many times I've called this man a fool. Students from Burris Laboratory School in Muncie who were visiting the State House on Tuesday say they felt threatened after Representative Jim Lucas opened his coat and flashed a handgun. The students, members of Student Demand Action, had traveled to Indianapolis to attend the annual advocacy day held at the state capitol to ask lawmakers to do more to curb gun violence. Mykina Fivecoats, who's 17, said, "My heart sank to my stomach. I genuinely felt very unsafe at that moment. And I really just wanted the conversation to kind of end after that." It's kind of almost like I felt like a threat to me. I want to say that's not how he meant it. But when you show someone that you have a gun on you, there's no way to really mean it other than a threat. A short time later, Lucas became frustrated when another student, Elena Trissel, 17, began saying her worries about gun violence were distracting her from worrying about normal teenage things. The lawmaker then abruptly ended the conversation and walked away. How many more idiotic things will we allow Jim Lucas to do before we say enough of this clown? I mean, mind you, he was begging the state trooper not to take him to jail after he got pulled over with a DUI. Now, first of all, why does he have to have a gun in the State House? There are state police all over that building. So what do you need a gun for? And I don't know about y'all, but I'm old school. One of the reasons why I don't have a gun is because I know I have a temper. And my daddy told me when he was teaching me guns, said, listen, if you show a gun, you need to be prepared to use it. That's what he just did. He flashed his gun. How many of those young students got the same lesson that I got? I don't even need to see your gun. But here we have children having to have active shooter drills, and this clown was so insensitive to the trauma that these young people were having that he wanted to flash his gun? Bro, what's wrong with you? Why are you in my State House? Why are you representing humans? Why don't you go play with the pigs and the cows and Seymour and let the humans govern? Because you are ridiculous. GOP, y'all trash. Y'all keep serving up trash. Aaron Freeman and Jim Lucas are trash. But you know what? We got a good candidate running against Jim Lucas. Y'all find Trish Wickham, donate to her campaign. Let's send her to the State House for that district and get his behind on out of there. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody running against Freeman. So if you over on the far east side, or you out in southern Hendricks County or Hancock County, could you please step up and run against Freeman? We'll support you. We'll get out there and support you. I'm not telling you that the party is going to support you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you, people who believe in electing people who are going to write good policies that improve lives instead of making the life harder for people. If you don't have a vehicle and you need to get to the airport, you got to pay an exorbitant amount of money to get an Uber or a Lyft. But we could solve this problem. And by the way, Indianapolis is hosting the All-Star game this month. How much easier would it be for people who are going to be coming in, the hundreds of thousands of people who are going to be coming to Indianapolis, to just get on the bus and go from the airport to downtown? Y'all trying to cripple the economic hub of our entire state. Cut it out. Because if you're waiting for somebody in, I don't know, Kosciuszko County to be the economic hub, it ain't going to happen. If you're looking for something in White County to be the economic hub of our state, it ain't going to happen. If you're looking for a business in Martinsville, it's not going to happen. The economic hub is right here. And I need the business leaders to stand up. Stop letting this happen. Get on your boys and say, look, we finna cut your funding. You keep all this nonsense out. Y'all got the power. Y'all not doing nothing with it. But more importantly, we as voters have the power. And I got one last thing. Yeah, I know my shows be running long. Y'all know I got lots of things to talk about. I'm sick of Nikki Haley. She done got on my nerves too. Running around talking about America has not been and is not a racist country. She lying or she ignorant or both. But I'm going to go with lying because she know better. She knows that America's a racist country so much so she don't even use her first name. She uses her middle name because it sounds more European. Now, why won't you just use your first name? If it's not a racist country, you needed to fit in. But in honor of the idiocy of a lot of people on the right that want to believe that America has not been a racist country, I'm going to take this month of Black History Month, and I'm going to highlight someone who has been impactful in my growth and my journey. Because apparently these people don't want to read a book. They don't want to pick up nothing. They don't want to learn nothing. They want to pretend like ain't nothing happening. Now, granted, Black folks ain't the only ones that have suffered under the tyranny of white supremacy. But it's Black History Month, and this is a shout out to my Native Americans who, y'all still here. They tried to commit genocide on y'all and pretty much did. But y'all still here. But this is a Black History Month, and I'm going in. So for the first week of Black History Month, we are going to talk about, and because my rant was kind of fiery tonight, I think this is a good person to start with. We're going with Miss Fannie Lou Hamer. Fannie Lou Hamer rose from humble beginnings in the Mississippi Delta to become one of the most important, passionate, and powerful voices of the civil and voting rights movement and a leader in an effort for greater economic opportunities for African Americans. Hamer was born on October 6, 1917 in Montgomery County, Mississippi, the 20th and last child of sharecroppers Lou Ella and James Townsend. She grew up in poverty and at the age of 6 joined her family picking cotton. By age 12, she left school to work. In 1944, she married Perry Hamer, and the couple toiled on the Mississippi plantation owned by Marlowe until 1962. Because Hamer was the only worker who could read and write, she also served as plantation timekeeper. In the summer of 1962, Hamer attended a meeting led by civil rights activist James Forman of the Student Nonviolent Coordination Committee, SNCC, and James Bevel of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC. Hamer was incensed by efforts to deny blacks the right to vote. Because, ain't no racism because you deny them the right to vote. She became a SNCC organizer, and on August 31st, 1962, she led 17 volunteers to register to vote at the Indianola, Mississippi courthouse. Denied the right to vote due to unfair literacy tests, the group was harassed on their way home when police stopped their bus and fined them $100 for the trumped-up charge that the bus was too yellow. That night, Marlowe fired Hamer for her attempt to vote. Her husband was required to stay until the harvest. Marlowe confiscated much of their property, and Hamer moved to Ruleville, Mississippi in Sunflower County with very little. In 1964, Hamer's national reputation soared as she co-founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, which challenged the local Democratic Party's effort to black participation. Hamer and other MFDP members went to the Democratic National Convention that year, arguing to be recognized as an official delegation. When Hamer spoke before the Credentials Committee, calling for mandatory integrated state delegation, President Lyndon Johnson held a televised press conference so she could not get any television airtime. But her speech, with its poignant descriptions of racial prejudice in the South, was televised later. By 1968, Hamer's vision for racial parity in delegations became a reality, and Hamer was a member of the Mississippi's first integrated delegation. And see, why did I pick Hamer? Because some of us don't have like crazy amounts of education. Some of us don't have crazy amounts of money. But you can make a difference in your community just by getting involved, just by being persistent, just by being loud, just by being unmovable. These people out here will deny you your existence, trans community, to get what they want, the way they want, and how they want. But if we show up, bringing our time, talent, and treasure, we can make hay and make them nervous. The president of the United States had to preempt a sharecropper, a cotton-picking sharecropper because of how powerful she was. Yeah, she's inspired me. She inspired me when I was a little girl. I remember when she passed away in 1977. And I am here today with my great big old mouth giving all the business because of people like Fannie Lou Hamer. All right, that's my first person that I'm going to talk about. Now it's time for me to bring on my sponsor. 2 years in a row, I've had a sponsor and I'm loving it. You want to be a sponsor? Holla at your girl. But first, Bones Unique Boutique.
Today's show is brought to you by Bohm's Unique Boutique. Click on the QR code. And for all Turn Left listeners, you can get a 10% discount on your order by using the code Democrat. Be sure to visit www.bohmsuniqueboutique.com.
Democrats, are you looking for an affordable content creation option? If so, look no further than Black Pearl IT Solutions and Black Pearl Studios. Indiana's own Dana Black is providing many of the communication wraparound services any Democratic organization needs. No matter the size of the budget, Indiana's own has you covered. Just scan the QR code or visit www.blackpearl_its.com. All right. You know, we got to pay them bills. That's what they say when you have a real production. It's just me and my crib. Yo, I'm excited today because, first of all, I've been having great conversations with these amazing young women. And yeah, I call them young. They mamas, they got kids that are teenagers, but they still young. And they are also out here being leaders in their communities their way. I'm super excited. Now, look, for y'all start any troubles with me, y'all don't want this smoke. I'm trying to tell y'all. And I've said it before because I repeat my Congressman Andre Carson always says, competition is good. So first up tonight, I want to introduce you to someone who is running for the Indiana House, District 95. Yes, she's got a primary opponent, and I promise you, Ooh, we gonna have them conversations when I bring on the other guests, right? I'm gonna make sure that everybody has a chance to talk about why they want to represent you. Party don't get to tell me who get to come on. Party don't get to tell me who can't come on. This here mine. I pay the bills. I pay, how they say it? I pay the cost to be the boss, but it ain't about me. So y'all give it up for my first guest, running for House District 95, my friend, Autumn Carter. Autumn, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Dana. I appreciate you for having me on the show.
I love it. I love it. Now, this has never happened before. This is the first time thing I've ever done. I thought it would be a great way to kick off Black History Month because I think as Black folks, we need to understand the importance of our role in this democracy and civic engagement. This is the first time I've ever had the current campaign manager of the candidate who is running for office. But she is also someone I admire and love all the things that she brings to the community and that she's doing her thing. Miss Samantha Douglas. Samantha, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And can I just shout out once again the great talent that Hoosier Women Forward keeps churning out. Both of these beautiful ladies are Hoosier Women Forward alum. Before we get started, tell us what it means to have gone through that Hoosier Women Forward program and how has it helped shape you as a candidate and as a campaign manager. Autumn, I'm going to let you go first.
Sure. I think Hoosier Women Forward has been instrumental in just understanding really things from a state lens and scope, and just really being able to understand like what your niche is within that. Because I feel like to me, politics is such a broad scope of things. But within that, you're able to identify where you can serve best because of the exposure that you're given and the opportunities that you are given to learn. And I also believe that they equip you with the skill set and the mindset to really put yourself out there. If you're thinking about running for candidacy, if you're thinking about being a campaign manager, it equips you with that confidence to go ahead and step out there and say, hey, I'm qualified. Why not me?
I love it. I love it. Samantha?
Same. I was going to say it's the validation for me. Making they make it so very clear that you're not crazy. Like people wanting you to wait your turn, people wanting you to act like a lady and do certain things a certain way. They definitely drill that in that all of that is BS and that when you're ready to run, do it, regardless of how people will feel about it. Because at the very least you get the experience. And on the high end, you get to really represent your people that you're passionate about and want to represent and show up for. So that was everything. But also for me, and I love to share this. I know me and you have talked about it, Dana, multiple times. But for me, I was really frustrated with our party at the time when I got accepted when I applied and when I got accepted into Hoosier Women Forward. I didn't think they would accept me because I'm very much so more community than politics historically. And it was a new experience for me. So I really love that they embraced me. Like they embraced how outspoken I am, how opinionated I am. And I appreciate that because, obviously in this space that can kind of be looked down upon. Mm-hmm. So it was great to have that acceptance and that validation.
I love it. I love it. And guys, ladies, if you're interested in getting a part of this amazing program, I know the application period will be opening up in another month or so. So visit the website, Hoosier Women Forward website. I'll include it in the link. But get involved. It's a great way for you as women to figure out where you want to fit into this thing. I got to ask, though, was there anything in that rant y'all wanted to comment on? Come on, Autumn. Is there anything in there?
Sure. I definitely would say there's a lot to be said, but I think the one thing that stands out for me, just because it's like a hot button for me, it all is. But I would definitely say Jim Lucas with the gun. I'm just like, seriously. I feel like to me, we're now validating something that we're really trying to really put on you. Honestly, something that we're trying to control here in the state of Indiana. I feel like to me, we have, of course, they went ahead and passed the no carry, permit to carry gun law. And for me, public safety is one of my focus points. And so that was a hot topic for me. Because it's inappropriate. School children, really? And then on top of that, you have moms who demand action who are at the state house. It's just, to me, it's like, it's very counterproductive. And it just screams NRA is funding me. So I just feel like, to me, that is, that stands out to me. And then on top of that, they're on the brink of trying to pass Senate Bill 14, which allows staff personnel who are not trained to carry weapons. And for me, there's too many armed guards. As soon as you come in, you have to go through security, and they let you know that they're armed because it's on their belt. So for me, why are we embracing something really and truly that should be something that should be provoked?
See,
not even at the house level, but just on the level of just citizens feeling safe.
See, and somebody might have a temper like me that got a gun. I'm just saying. Samantha, was there something that resonated with you?
Girl, when you listen, Miss I don't want to butcher her name. This is just Samantha attempting, but Nimarata?
Yeah, I didn't even say
Nikki Haley? Ma'am.
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 She's a mess.
Ma'am. my fellow brown girl. Ma'am.
Okay, well, you know what? Nimrata. What is it? Is that how we say it?
Okay.
Is that it?
Nimrata. I think that's it. But it don't matter. The fact that you can't run under your native name.
That's okay.
And you're gonna sit here in the same breath, in the same campaign, baby, and try to tell us that you do not believe racism is a problem in our country. That's wild. It's wild. Like, what are we talking about right now? I really can't believe that we're still talking about this, if I'm being honest.
In 2024. All right.
Yeah.
All right. You running for office. You put your name out there, Miss Autumn Carter.
Yes,
Tell people who you are and where you come from.
Sure. So you introduced me. My name is Autumn Carter. I come from Indianapolis, born and raised. Well, I would say raised. I was actually born in Anderson, moved here when I was 5, so I don't think it counts. But I still love my hometown, nevertheless, but I was raised in Indianapolis. I am a working mother, published author, public speaker, and a stage 4 breast cancer survivor. I have been an advocate in this space for quite some time since being diagnosed. And also I am a very involved person with the Democratic Party. I have been for 7 years. Previously served as the finance director for the Democratic Party. Currently serving as the Indiana Young Democrats, diversity and inclusion director, as well as sitting on several boards that are influencing education, like the United Negro College Fund, sending our brilliant Black brothers and sisters to college on full ride scholarships, and also to full pilot ed, where we are really digging in to find solutions for minority children to have equal education opportunities, and also to I think those are the only 3 boards I sit on. I think I dwindled down on some this year to serve me well with running for office, but that is who I am.
Well, okay, well, let me ask you this. Did you go to public schools?
I sure did.
Really?
I did.
You mean to tell me public schools produced you?
They sure did. Pike Brown.
What? Get out. I mean, because if you listen to the State House, they make it seem like public schools are the scourge of the earth.
Oh, no.
What? Okay, so let me ask you this. You do a lot of work in the community. What got you to be so civically engaged?
I would say, to me, just being a Black woman in America, trying to navigate this system, I would say on every facet, from education to political. So I think, to me, what happens is when you figure out that everything is political, you figure out that avenue to get politically involved. And so for me, it was really having to sit through an election where we didn't have Democrats who showed up at the polls, and that's when Trump was elected. So I started off as an unpaid intern working for the Democratic Party, registering voters to help to bring solutions with bringing people out to vote, and then was asked to come back as the finance director, and it's like, history from there.
And so I actually remember when you were battling cancer. I remember I knew you before your diagnosis, and obviously we ain't hanging out every day, but I've known you for a very long time, and I really appreciated your presence in the Indianapolis political space. But talk to us what was it like for you as a young single mom at the time, right? Battling cancer, having to make sure that your child was in a good, healthy space, that she was in a good mental space, that you were in a good mental space. Talk about that journey a little bit.
Sure. And I want to say thank you for your kind words. I wouldn't mind hanging out every day, though.
No doubt.
But on a serious note, for me, being a single Black woman who was navigating breast cancer at the time with a child, it was devastating. It was heartbreaking because I felt like, to me, I didn't know what to expose her to and what not to. Mm-hmm. And I'm a very hands-on parent, so I had to really walk her through it and to it with exposing her to that I was going through breast cancer by finding a book that had interest that she would find interest to, but also talked about breast cancer. So the book was called The Goodbye Cancer Garden. Mm. We sat down and we read that book. And then after that, I enrolled her into art therapy with the Cancer Community Center, just to make sure that I, as a mother, was not missing cues that she may not be able to verbalize, but they could probably pick up in her drawings. And so for me, it was very critical and crucial to make sure that her well-being, from a holistic standpoint, in order for her to thrive as a Black young girl in America still with, a traumatic event happening in her life, was addressed through therapy.
I love it. And so was the surviving of breast cancer and what you went through made you decide to write the book?
I would say yes. So the reason why I hesitate with that is I had always wanted to write a book, but for myself, I never thought I had the content for it. And so I didn't know what I was going to write about. I just knew that I wanted to be an author one day. And it, kind of ties into now, wanting to write state legislation. So it's like that prepared me for my journey now, because I truly and thoroughly enjoy grammar. I enjoy everything about writing.
Girl, I'm glad you got. I hate grammar. I'm so glad for the little AI tools to help me. Listen. So when you out here, you survived cancer, you're a single mom, you're an author, but why did you decide to run for office?
I decided to run because I feel like, to me, my journey has prepared me for it as an advocate. Being a Black woman in the healthcare system, it equipped me with the confidence to be able to speak up for myself, to be able to advocate for other women and tell them what they need to do, what they need to say to doctors, in order to hear those buzzwords like, hey, if you don't do this, then I'm going to have you document my chart. And it's not threatening a doctor. It's basically saying, I care about myself, even though you may not care for me. Mm. I care about my well-being, and I want to be treated the same that my white counterpart will be treated.
I love it. And then as you were beginning the process of assembling your team, mm-hmm. Why you reach out to Samantha?
Oh my gosh. So I tell this story all the time, and it's so funny because me and her are like thick as thieves now, but starting off, it really wasn't me reaching out to her. It kind of just happened, which is the organicness that I love about our working professional relationship, and that it was genuinely organic. I had been attending, we both were attending Deb Whitfield's fundraiser, and
congratulations, Mayor Deb.
Yes, and I apologize for not putting Mayor in front of her name. Sorry, put some respect on her name.
Right, so, respect on it.
Yes, so we were attending Mayor Deb Whitfield's fundraiser, and I happened to see Samantha there. And at this point in my journey with running for candidacy, I was just letting everyone know that I respected, or anybody that was involved in the party, hey, I'm running for a state house representative, and kind of just let them decide from there. So we were chatting, and the first thing I say is, hey, Samantha, I was like, I'm running for state house representative. And she just looked at me and she was like, I really want a guy in that seat. And I said, okay. I said, well, I cannot be that. But what I can promise you is that I'm going to be building a bench under me.
In fairness, I said a black man. I said, I want a black man in that seat. Okay.
Thank you for the correction. So yes, she said, I want a black man in that seat. And so I told her, I said, I can't be that. But I said, what I can do is I can groom black males under me. And so for me, that I believe was the point of us coming from two ends of the spectrum to meet in the middle. And to me, that was just a testament of when you build relationships and you're really willing to see someone from not just from I want this and I want this, it's like you get nowhere. But when you can meet somewhere in the middle, you can get a lot accomplished. So now we are kicking butt right now with the meeting that we had earlier today, double teaming things and making things happen for the campaign, which is really for the betterment of people.
So Samantha, you guys had this conversation, and you and I have had like amazing conversations. We get on the phone, we don't know how to get off, right?
Yeah.
But how did you know? And I'm gonna assume that Hoosier Moving Forward helped to prepare, but how did you know you were ready to be a campaign manager?
So actually, before I was ever in Hoosier Women Forward, I had already went through. So in 2022, I did a 8-week campaign manager training through Renew US, which, listen, I highly, highly, highly suggest people go through that if you're interested in working in campaigns in any capacity. It was just such an intensive program, and it was amazing. You get to meet with amazing people from all over the country. It was beautiful. And then obviously I went through the CBCI boot camp last summer, which also prepares you to work campaigns and things. So I wasn't, so I had been doing all the things to learn all the different parts working on campaigns and stuff. But when it came to Autumn, like she said, when we first talked, I'm obviously always, if you spent, 5-10 minutes talking to me about politics, you know how passionate I am about making sure that we keep our Black men in the fold, because for several years now we've been losing them. And as some of our politicians start to age out or start to retire, like, the incumbent, I increasingly get more concerned about us losing our Black men. So I was like, yeah, girl, I hear you, but if we're going to lose one, I would like to gain one. And, but it was just such a nice experience to talk to her, to hear where she was coming from, to hear her passion for her district and for her people. And it just, so all those pieces just kind of connected at once, that, she's an amazing candidate. And I think sometimes we get tripped up when it's a Democrat running against a Democrat, that people think it's like, oh, well, why bother? Because we already have that seat. And just people in general are not created equally, right? And so I don't believe a party automatically makes you right or wrong for a seat. I think that it really, who you are matters. And I think that, and in Indy and in a district where we have 70-some% Democrats, we get to be picky.
Right.
So why not be picky? And that's. And
to be clear, the incumbent is running for re-election. So we just want to make sure that everybody knows that they are running for re-election. But go ahead. I cut you.
Oh, it's okay. That's all I was saying. So just that moment of just really loving her story, her passion for her people, having all of the skills to do this for her, especially like the grassroots community work that I've done, because obviously we're going to have to move people to really get this done. All of those things just kind of converged in that moment, and it just felt like a really good fit.
I love it. So, Autumn, one of the things that one of the biggest problems that we have in the State House right now is the fact that there is a super majority. I mean, literally today, I listened to, on the Senate side, they were arguing over, we discussed for a significant length of time about what a bill 147, SB 147, was going to make for-profit businesses property tax exempt, which would then distribute the burden of those property taxes that the businesses aren't paying onto the everyday person. This is supposed to be I'm not going to raise your tax, people, but they raising taxes on everybody. Anyway, it's a mini rant. I had to get that. I was upset about that today. How are you going to be able to navigate that? Tell us about your leadership style and your negotiation style, because when you get in, if you win the election, there's a good possibility that you're still going to be in the minority. how are you going to work across the aisle to get some of the things done that you need done?
Sure. I think to kind of reiterate what you just said is highly important, working across the aisle. So relationship building, for one. And then I also believe that sometimes putting the language of things. So I think it's two-part. I think there's two different ways to really navigate this question and to really address this question, is to sometimes you have to put low-hanging fruit in the bill. And when I say that, you have to put things that will really draw them to what you're trying to say without really and truly selling your party out. Because I truly believe that, and when I say that, it's just really the alignment of values when I say party. But putting low-hanging fruit that they might want to really sign onto this bill, because I truly believe that that is a way to satisfy what I want for my constituents in the state of Indiana, and then also too, then for them to feel like they're making some type of progress for their communities. And so it's really and truly the language and the messaging. I also think that sometimes instead of drafting a whole new bill, sometimes we can take a bill that's already in place and change the language on it and ask if we can add or modify things to it to make it fit for our community, our constituents. And I hate to say this, but a lot of Republicans are ego-driven. So if you're asking them,
politicians are ego-driven. You can't just put it on one party.
I would say
egos. There's some egos.
Yes, I agree with that. So politicians in general are very ego-driven. So if you're willing to sign on to their bill, sometimes it's not about being the author of a bill, but it's about really and truly the outcome for the constituents and putting yourself as a co-signer or a co-author versus being the person who signed on. So it's really about the constituents at the end of the day and how to make it work for them.
It sounds like you're doing your... Oh, I'm sorry, Samantha, go ahead.
I was going to ask, can I add to that? Because I think sometimes we don't acknowledge, sometimes we see so much of where we disagree that we don't acknowledge the things that we do get through, that we have worked together on doing those kind of things. So like getting through the mental health bill last year that now has allowed clinician-led teams to respond to mental health calls and things like that in Indy. The switches legislation that we got through last year, these are Republicans and Democrats working together. So I don't want people to think that, is it tough? Yes, right. But do we work together to get things done for the good of the community? Yes, that also happens too. So I just wanted to throw that in there, that this is not what she's talking about. Isn't like, oh, it's just such a far-fetched or hard to do. I think it's obviously going to be a challenge, but I think this is one step. And her just being so young coming into this really gives us a nice long time, right? And her commitment to raising up leaders behind her so that we can continue to keep chipping away at that majority.
Oh, shoot. It sounds like Samantha going wrong one of these days too. But but you're the campaign manager this time. We going to get to that. So it sounds like you've done your homework, Autumn, on how the chamber works. Where did you get that knowledge from? Where did you get that education from?
I definitely say, Who's Your Woman Forward? Who's Your Woman Forward? They prepare you for these things. These are like conversations so that when it does come up, it just flows. It makes sense to you. And then if you're not able to, because for me, I'm a big picture person. So I want to know like from beginning to end what the process is. And they do a great job of presenting that to you. And I would say taking it a step further and just really doing research on different bills for myself. And I used to work at Ice Miller as well. In the public affairs group. So I would have to sit there and watch session and look at bills for clients to see, what all was taking place that may impact our clients.
I love it. So now let's talk about policy. All right. Because that's, people want to know how you see the world, that, they want to know if you're the right person to represent them. You mentioned public education. I mentioned it because I'm definitely about that public education. Talk about your views on public education, and how we see Republicans are doing everything they can to privatize public education with the voucher system and things of that nature. What is your stance on public education? How are you, when you're in there, how will you fight for public education?
For me personally, I'm fighting to keep public education alive. It's something that education is something that is a birthright to every single child, And I don't think that it should not be messed with as far as like the quality or the access to education. And what the Republicans are trying to do, they're trying to mess with that essentially. They're trying to mess with that in the sense of the quality of education, saying that private schools are better, or the funding is going to private institutions, and then also to the access of it. To me, it's like almost like they're trying to turn it into like a lottery system, and that is not cool. It's not fair, and it's not what education should be about. It should be about every single child having equal rights and access to education. Again, it's another form of systemic oppression, and I would say a form of systemic oppression and racism.
And you also mentioned public safety. You know, for some reason, and I rail against Republicans because I think they trash. But a lot of people don't think that we as Democrats care about public safety, which is stupid, right? It's dumb because, talk about your plan for public. What did I say? I said public safety. Because I'm telling you, they get me because they do stupid stuff. Public safety. What is your plan for public safety, and how do you want to address it?
Sure. So I would say, like I said, a hot button for me would be gun control. Trying to really and truly reverse the what's already been done with the permitless carry. I believe that is a way of really and truly allowing our young Black brothers and sisters to take themselves out. And so I truly believe that was a careless decision that I want to try to reverse. And then also too, I would say with public safety, I would say really and truly putting and investing into our young people so that we are keeping them busy and keeping, I wouldn't say necessarily busy, but keeping them off the streets, keeping them off out of trouble and harm's way. And that to me is my plan for public safety. As I go, I'm creating a more robust platform. And let me say this, I'm very proud about my platform because I did actually call constituents and I had a community listening session and have created my platform around District 95 and what they were wanting.
What were they telling you?
So public safety, they basically were the biggest concern that I'm hearing from constituents is gun control. And then, as I said, that there's just too much going on with our young people. There's no type of direction. There's no type of investment. And so for me, I hear that loud and clear, and I'm going to address it.
So has anybody talked about criminal justice reform and what that looks like?
So I have not talked to anyone about that. That has not come up. That is something that is near and dear to my heart because I truly believe that they all go hand in hand because you cannot put someone into, I would say, into a space of being called a prisoner, and then when they get out, there's nothing for them to they're still serving their sentence. And so for me, I really want to work on that, and I also want to work on what is going on behind bars, why people are in prison, because a lot of times our schools are set up for pipeline to prison, and so I really want to address that as well, and that's a whole deep topic that I can dig into. But for me, it would be what is happening behind bars. How are we equipping our people to come out and to be successful and to really thrive and not to have this, another form of slavery and another form of systemic oppression.
I love it. I want campaign manager. How's she doing? Okay. I love it. All right. I want to switch gears a little bit because, you guys are young. I'm 53. I'm 25, 30 more years, maybe, if I'm lucky, right? But this planet is going to be left to y'all. There's a couple bills in the General Assembly right now opting to remove more Indiana wetlands. We know that when you remove Indiana wetlands, it causes more flooding in our cities and towns. Not to mention it has a negative impact on the entire ecosystem, and it impacts climate change. One of the things that I've heard from criticism is that we as Black folk, we ain't really been in the climate change movement. That's not true. Climate change looks different for us than it does for some other people. But talk to me as a young candidate, how you would like to address climate change and what that means. Because y'all can't tell me it ain't happening. I mean.
I definitely would say partnering with organizations like Sierra Club. They are based and founded upon really and truly getting people engaged so that we are not having global warming and educating people on what global warming is and how we can prevent it. And so for me, I really love to be grassroots oriented. So I told Samantha, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, I said I want to stay as close to grassroots organizations as possible. So I would say really and truly partnering with the SMEs in this, because I don't know everything, but I'm open to learning, and I'm open to calling on the subject matter experts who can help me to form bills that are going to align with making sure that we do not have global warming going forward, and really how we can reverse that, and really call on other people who are in the chambers to align with that, whether they are Democrat or whether they are Republican.
Samantha, you look like you got something to say.
I do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one, I'm so surprised that you went to wetlands and global warming. But
why?
Okay. Because so one of the reasons why they feel like that's not like a high priority issue for Black people is because any issue that comes up that's more long term is not super high on our priority list, because we have so many more things that are impacting our day to day. Like, it feels like a privilege to be able to worry about global warming and things that are going to happen, you know, that many years from now. And so, but I am excited though about things that are coming around. And I think Autumn hit the nail on the head about partnerships. Like, this is not a topic that historically I've known a lot about, but one of our Hoosier Women Forest Sisters is actually working to create a climate council in the party, Morgan. And yeah, and this is why, right? Because there's so many things, like there's so many reasons, and there's so many ways that even environmental justice issues, right? I use this example like to death, but I tell people all the time, all 4 of my sons have a touch of asthma, and that's probably completely contributed to the fact of where we live on the Far East Side. And so we just need to make these issues matter to like that day to day, like break it down for people and make that connection onto like how environmental issues are impacting us. Also, KIB has been doing a really good job at doing studies around the city.
What's KIB?
Keep Indianapolis Beautiful.
Thank you.
They got an EPA grant not too long ago to do a heat study out here, to do an air quality study out here. And so, yeah, just like partnering with organizations that have more of the know-how, because honestly, we just have been in a space where we haven't felt like we had the luxury to worry about those things. But as they come up to us, making sure that we're listening and definitely supporting any kind of legislation that comes through that makes sense for our communities.
You know, you just you talked about being validated and affirmed earlier. You just affirmed me as well, because I remember when I had a young woman come up to me and she, you know, I'm out here and she was like, Dana, I'm trying to get people in the community to get engaged in this climate change discussion. And I literally said the exact same thing to her. Honey, them folks ain't worried about the roof over their head. It's a different conversation, right?
Yeah.
But when we talk about the fact that there was a report that came out a couple of years ago that said if you live in Indiana, if you have asthma, move, because the air quality is so bad here. And again, the wetlands is not just about the wetlands, right? It's about the green, the lush greenery that surrounds it. And we already know that, you know, trees and plants take in carbon monoxide and feed out oxygen. So if you get rid of all those natural air filters, we're all going to be living in a space where we can't breathe. And so, you know, climate change, there's also, you know, a racial justice element to climate change and how it's impacting people who have economic challenges. If you're not able to buy an air filter every week for your house or every month or whatever it is, you're going to suffer more, you know, respiratory issues. So, you know, you're right. And we just got to break those things down. And one of the things, and I love that you said that, because again, that's what politics is, and being civically engaged is about letting everybody understand that everything you do in life is based on policy. All right, let's get to the economy, Autumn. You know, I talked about earlier about how they want to, you know, pass property tax burdens away from for-profit organizations, and they're doing it for child care reasons. So they're masking it as a child care bill, but okay, whatever. But they're shifting tax burden from corporations that are making millions of dollars down to the everyday person. They're taking away the development zone in downtown Indianapolis, which we would have received funding from the federal government to help the square mile. And I understand a lot of people be like, man, we spend a lot of money in the square mile, but I'm sorry, that's where the most money is made for the entire state. But real people are feeling the impact. Talk about your economic vision for Hoosiers, because in the House is the fiscal body. Talk about your economic vision for Hoosiers and what you see.
Sure. I would definitely say my vision would be to partner with different organizations who have training programs for individuals, whether it be a certificate, whether it's a trade school, and really and truly putting my constituents and I would say really promising at least 5 to 10 people that I'm willing to put through their programs to speak to several different issues. So whether it's we have one less person who's out here doing something they have no business doing, or and it's also stimulating the economy with securing and keeping jobs, as well as they now have funding to possibly buy a home or to invest that money in other things. So it's really like a cycle that I want to see where we're finding the beginning solution and the ending is stimulating the economy, as well as helping the individual be able to thrive in my community as well.
And then finally, the last topic, we mentioned it, you went into depth when you talked about your health scare. We know the infant and maternal mortality rate in our communities in Indiana of all demographics is horrific. And it's even worse in the Black community. Talk about your vision for healthcare, because I know that is probably your thing. Talk about it. Give us your vision.
So honestly, when you position that question to me, and it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. I really and truly want to see the number or the age for mammograms to be lowered. For myself, I know that I could not get a mammogram when I first told them, hey, I feel something's going on, because of the fact that we do have a law in place saying that you cannot have a mammogram unless you are 40 and older.
What? I didn't even know that.
Yes, or 35 if it runs in your family. And so by law, insurance would not pay for it.
I'm sorry. Wait. This is one of the moments where you be having a good moment and then the host interrupt. You mean to tell me I can go and purchase a gun without a permit and carry it around, but I can't get a mammogram at 25 if I want one?
Nope. You can get it. You can pay for it out of pocket, but insurance will not cover it.
Okay. See, make it make sense to me, because that ain't making no sense, but go ahead.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of women in general who go undiagnosed every year, who are significantly young because of the fact that they don't have access to healthcare. Again, it's an access thing. And so that's something that I would work on, as well as there's so many things, especially when it comes to Black and brown women, where we are really suppressed when it comes to just all the systems work the way they're supposed to, if that makes sense. And so for me, I really want to really work to construct it to work for us. So that would be something I would want to see, as well as, possibly putting something in the legislation where we are now, we're promoting doulas, and we're promoting, professionals who are not necessarily OBGYNs, if you will, but they are Black trusted medical professionals who are going to see you from the beginning of your birth and then afterwards, to make sure that you have the prenatal care that you have that you need. Because a lot of times, even with prenatal care, there's postpartum depression that you may see. And so it's just kind of like, it's all like a domino effect. If we're not treating the symptom, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, really, what are we doing?
I know. And Shelley Yoder, there's been a couple of bills that's come through, and I've heard Senator Shelley Yoder argue for are you covering doulas? So, the seed has been planted. But probably the biggest issue when it comes to healthcare in Indiana and around the country is access to reproductive health care or even transgender health care. Talk to me about, reproductive health care is something has been a dividing subject, dividing America for 50 years. What is your stance on access to reproductive health care?
I support it wholeheartedly. I am a recipient of the benefits of it prior to it being closed down, and I'm okay with sharing that. I had a life-threatening situation where I could not carry full term because of my diagnosis, and I could have honestly. They told me it was between carrying and not making it after the birth, and so I had to make a very very intimate decision and quickly in order to save my life. And so couldn't do it here, had to drive to Ohio to gain access. And so I wholeheartedly support it.
Wow. So you are you're like the women in Texas. You are one of those women who had a life-threatening issue because they keep saying we got exceptions. The exception is except I never want you to have one. That's what it is. They playing. They playing. Thank you for sharing that story because I know that as going through it, having to make that decision was tough, but we letting dudes who can't even give birth and don't really understand a woman's body ever, trying to tell us what we can and we can't do. And we need more advocates for women's reproductive health care and transgender health care in our state house because body autonomy is body autonomy. Right?
Absolutely.
Right. We go ahead. You were about to say something.
I was going to say, men that I'm just saying this is a open statement for myself. I truly believe that men who do not have reproductive, like the ovaries, and they don't have menstrual cycles, they should not be making decisions for us. Nope. That's what I truly believe. And if they are, it should be in the best interest for us.
Yeah, and not they're worried that they losing population and they're gonna be the minority. In about 10 more years, it's really frustrating on that level. Thank you so much for sharing. But before we go, Samantha, I did bring you on for a reason.
Yeah.
I want you to talk about.
You mean you didn't want me to just sit here and look pretty?
I mean, that's three. Look, I'm gonna say it if don't nobody else say. There's 3 fine honeys on this screen. I'm just saying, okay. You got a little chocolate going on over here. You gotta have it. No, real talk. So Samantha, I brought you on because I talk about Black Pearl IT Solutions. I talk about Black Pearl Studios, but I can't do all of those services. I can't do everything, right? Just like you said, Adam, I don't know everything. I just got to be able to partner with people. And one of the folks that I've always partnered with at Black Pearl was you. Talk about what you do. What else you do?
I do so much. It's a lot, but we're talking about. I'm sure you're talking about graphic design, yes. which I love, honestly. I didn't know I was going to like it this much. And it was actually your significant other that pulled me into this because I was doing logos for small businesses Nicole. And community. Yes. Hey, Nicole. But yeah, I was doing logos just in general. And you guys really brought me into the fold. She explained her vision and it was just so easy to pull together. And then I realized, man, I just really love this. And now I've done so many. I've done Nicole Bolden's. I've done Bianca Torrado. I've done Alex. I did Bianca Torrado's. Yeah, and her website. And I did Monisha Mitchell, I did social media graphics for her. I do the social media graphics for IDEC. So you guys know I'm the communications director for IDEC State. So I'm excited about like all the things we have coming that way too. You're going to have to bring me back on to talk about that.
Talk about IDEC. What's going on with IDEC? Because, Black folks need to get involved. So talk about it. Okay.
So this year, I'm so excited for us. So really, we took a massive hit. Well, if you're familiar with IDEC at all, a lot of our membership has aged beautifully. Okay. But we've aged a bit. And so when COVID came through, it really, really crippled our chapters around the state. And so for the last couple of years since I've been involved with IDAC, we've really been focused on rebuilding those chapters, especially in those strongholds, places like here, like Fort Wayne, Gary, Evansville, where we have a decent population of Black voters. Really rebuilding those chapters, getting them sustainable, and then building out from there. So right now we're really building internally. We're pushing membership right now. So join IDAC, go to IDAC.org. The membership due is only $25 a year, super accessible. But yeah, so we need to get people in for this first quarter. Second quarter, we will shift to outreach, getting people registered, getting people in the party and getting them active, obviously in the caucus. So that's part of it. We also have a fundraising gala coming up in October.
Yay.
It's called the Black Effect Gala, celebrating progress and increasing access. I'm so excited about that.
Get your outfits now.
Get your outfits now. Get ready to support. And when I say support, I need money.
Yeah.
Let me be specific. And really it's time for people to put their money where their mouth is. Mm-hmm. Put their money where their mouth is. We talk about wanting to be inclusive. We talk about wanting to get more Black people to the polls. We talk about wanting to engage our Black men. It's time for us to actually do those things. So I'm excited to do that through IDAC this year. And then, there's other projects that I'm working on. I'll tell y'all as that stuff comes out, but I'm really excited about where IDAC is going, really, like truly.
Yeah.
But outside of that, going back to the graphics, like I've just been supporting a bunch of candidates throughout the state with graphics, and I'm excited to do so. I'm glad that I have a skill set that I can lend to them, have them out here looking good,
Well, where can they find you if they need a graphic artist?
So, obviously my Facebook is Samantha Douglas and it's my face. I also have my website is designwithsam.com. I've told you a zillion times it's not updated. This is my fault, but you can see some of my past work. My campaign logos aren't on there yet, but I'll add those. But yeah, you can connect with me through the site designwithsam.com, or you can connect with me through Facebook. I'm usually on and off throughout the day. And I'm around. Like, come on.
Right.
I'm around.
You like me. You easy to find. And you got your Far East. You have your Far East Side nonprofit, right?
Yeah, so I'm the president of Far East Side Community Council, and I'm a precinct committee person in Warren Township. But I have a nonprofit out here, a 501c3, which is Christ Up Inc., and we work with grassroots organizations just that serve the Far East Side to we're kind of like a intermediary, kind of help them get their ideas and projects together, and then also serve as a fiscal agent for them as well, for the people who don't have 501c3s. And then this year, through IDAC, we launched Power to the Polls. Mm-hmm. But this year it's actually going to become its own C4 so that I can move free of party and really have more access to reach more people. So we'll be doing that this year too. So we'll have a C4 too.
Okay. I hope we can do another IDAC, Democratic Power of the Black vote again, because I think it's important that we teach folks on how to be civically engaged. I know that you love doing the nonprofit work, but I'm a partisan kind of hack, so I'm a be a Democrat. But I love doing the training aspect of it, and hopefully we can get that going again this year, where we talk about it. Because I know in Monroe County, I would do a Power of the Black and Brown vote, and because they try to divide those communities up, and we all suffer from the same thing. So it's about bringing all of those together. The reason, again, I want you guys to understand, Turn Left is about bringing you information. Turn Left is about highlighting people. First and foremost, I start with love. I don't have no hate in my heart. I don't have no desire to tear people down or make them look silly or any of those things, because the rest of the world can do that. I sure as heck ain't finna do it to Black women. That being said, every week I'm bringing you people who are running for office around the state, and the goal is to get you engaged. Bring either your time, your talent, or your treasure. Okay? Autumn, tell the people where they can find you.
Sure. So you can find me at acforindy.com. There you can donate and learn more about my campaign, as well as social media handles, which are Instagram, AC for Indy, and Facebook, Autumn Carter for State House Representative.
And if you liked anything she said today, there's a donate link right there. Turn Left is an official fundraiser for every candidate that comes on the show. So click the link, $5, make it recurring. If you ain't got a lot of money right now, make it a $5 recurring donation once a month. So every candidate that appears on the show, it'll be a fundraiser for them as a means of me trying to help these candidates get elected. Do you have any events coming up?
I do. So on February the 8th, which is next Thursday, I have my campaign
on
finance.
Thursday?
Yes. Yep, on Thursday.
You gonna have Turn Left on at your kickoff? You know,
we can do that. We can set that up. I think Samantha actually invited you to come out and do it live.
No, and then I said it was on Thursday. No, I mean put me on the big screen. Put me on the big screen. Me and my guests, so y'all can, Turn Left can be to entertainment for the night. I'm just
I love that. So yes, I'm having no, you're fine. I'm having my campaign launch fundraiser. So it's my official launch, just really telling you more about myself and more about my platform, and also to a chance for donors to come out and donate. And meet them in person, because I truly want to meet and greet every single person and thank any person that donates to my campaign, whether it's their time or whether it's financial, which I'm like, bring all the monies, because we need them. We need that in order to push the messaging and to get elected to make these things happen that we talked about tonight. And then also too, you can follow me for future events on AC for Indy or my social media handles.
I love it. I love it. Y'all, this was dope. I really love this conversation. Couple of things I want to leave y'all with tonight. One, support Black women. I'll start there. You know, we've been holding this party down forever. We've been, from the Fannie Lou Hamers to the Kamala Harrises. We've been holding it down, holding them accountable. Right?
Absolutely.
When things didn't go away, Fannie didn't go off and hide in the corner. She said, well, if you don't let me in, I'm going to do my own thing. She don't give up the fight, because if you give up, you let them win. Right? But so support Black women. 2, support young people. You old people who are not helping young people, what are you doing? What are you doing? You didn't had your turn. Even if you still shining. Because I know, look, Maxine Waters still shining. Auntie Maxine still doing her thing. So I'm not finna tell y'all. But what are you doing to help young people? If you're not helping young people, you're not preparing for the future. So if you got some skills that are transferable, then you can give those to young people so that they are ready. Help young people. More importantly, the last thing I want to leave you with tonight is it is Black History Month. Black folks been holding this party down. South Carolina. If Clyburn doesn't say I'm backing Biden doesn't win South Carolina, and we might not even have a democracy right now, because the Orange Menace is already telling you he's going to be a dictator. And it's not just him. I want to make everybody understand. It's not just Trump. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, is also a part of that MAGA madness. All of these people is more, good Lord, Tim Scott, he's so bad. No, he can't come to the barbecue, but we gon' holler at him later. Like, bro, come on. You're supposed to be an outie, not an innie. I need you to stand up for yourself, and he's not. But we have been holding it down. But I also need my Black folks to get involved. You can't complain about what's not happening and then stay on the sidelines. You can't be upset that these pieces of legislation are impacting your life negatively, but you didn't do anything to help change who made the policy, right? The election is where we begin the policy-making process, because who you put in office will determine how that policy will be written. And I'm telling you, I don't care if it's the milk you buy or the tennis shoes you wear on your feet. There's some policy associated with it. So get involved, time, talent, or treasure, so that we can flip some seats. We got to flip some seats. Democracy is on the line. It's not hyperbolic. Democracy is on the line this year. Okay, so you got to show up and you got to show out and support people like Autumn and Samantha, who are doing the community work and getting the word out and doing their thing. And even if you don't ever want to hold a position as elected official, campaign manager, party leadership, none of that. There's still ways for you to improve the quality of life in your communities by being civically engaged. And that's what I want to leave y'all with tonight, because I'm not going to call GOP trash no more. Well, yes, I will. In the meantime, I will holler at y'all next week. Peace.
Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.